Shalom, shalom, Israel. First off, giving all praise to the Most High and to His Son, Yahushua. Happy Passover, brothers and sisters. Happy Passover, brothers and sisters that's in the class. Happy Passover to brothers and sisters that's online. Like I say, giving all praise to the Most High. This is a unity Passover. We're doing this thing with our brothers' church, another life with battle axes. So all praise to the Most High. The title of the class, brothers and sisters, today is Plagues of Egypt. And like we were discussing with the congregation earlier, we're going to touch on this subject because this is a very important history. Because we know a lot of times our people's brains are filled with Egyptology, but we're going to show the brothers and sisters out there that guess what? We have a God that's better than the Egyptian gods, which are idols, by the way. That's right. So no nation on the planet Earth has a history better than the Israelites, God's chosen people. So we're going to start off with this one. Give me Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. I want to open up with this scripture, kind of put brothers in the spirit to be in, especially during these troublous times as the Most High bringing wrath upon the earth. Start at verse 5. These are the things that we need to get through these times. We need the brotherhood, we need the sisterhood, we need the nationhood. But this is some of the other things that we need. We need stability. Read that when we get the office yard.
Isaiah chapter 33, verse 5. The Lord is exalted.
Read that again.
The Lord is exalted.
The Lord is exalted. Why is the Lord exalted? By guess what? Keeping Passover, keeping his high holy days, keeping his commandments, brothers and sisters. Read on up.
For he dwelleth on high.
He do what?
He dwelleth on high.
Read on up.
He hath filled Zion with judgment and righteousness.
And that's what our job is being a nation of priests, a nation of kings. We are to bring righteous judgment, and we're supposed to bring righteousness. What is righteousness? Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25. Read on up.
Verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time.
This is the part that we want brothers and sisters to focus on. Read that again.
And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time.
Wisdom and knowledge is the stability of the times. That's what's going to keep us stable in these terrible times, brothers and sisters. Because we see sometimes brothers can be double-minded, sisters can be double-minded. But when you have instability in wisdom and knowledge, guess what? You can never go wrong. Brother Brandon, what's the knowledge according to the Bible? The precept you got. Brother Ehud, what's knowledge according to the Bible? That's what we got to have. We always want to reinforce these basic understandings. That's righteousness. What is the knowledge? What you got, all praise, that's what the knowledge is. And Ehud, you know wisdom. What's wisdom?
Wisdom is
the one you gave me the other day. Deuteronomy 4 and what?
4 and
5 through 6. That is what wisdom is. And guess what they all go back to? Keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments.
right.
That's what's going to keep us stable in this situation. As most times bringing wrath upon the earth, brothers and sisters. So we want to home in those skills. Stay on the straight path. Read that from the top again, verse 6.
Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time.
Guess what? Keeping his laws. That's the stability of the times. Read on up.
And strength of salvation.
And what?
And strength of salvation.
And guess what? Those things brings us salvation. Because contrary to popular belief, we are not saved, brothers and sisters. We are not. That's why, like we said, we asking the Most High, keep raising that thing. Raise it to the ceiling, man. Read on up.
The fear of the Lord is his treasure.
The what?
The fear of the Lord is his treasure.
That's the Most High God's treasure. When we start to fear the Most High God, meaning keep his commandments. Because we fear the judgments that he'll bring upon us. Now let's go ahead and get started. Give me the book of Psalms, chapter 96 and verse 5. We all know this is a basic precept that brothers always pull out there on the streets, man. When you get there, read that up.
Psalm 96, verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols.
Jump up at verse 4.
Verse 4. For the Lord is great.
The Lord is what?
The Lord is great.
Read on now.
And greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods.
And like we say, we always see that, guess what? That's a lowercase g. Meaning them gods don't mean nothing, man. Read on now.
For all the gods of the nations are idols.
Read verse 5 again.
For all the gods of the nations are idols.
And our people love to gravitate to these false idols, man, in Egyptology, because that's the main thing that a lot of our people are dealing with when we out there trying to teach our people out there on the streets. Kemet, my brother. Hotep, my brother. But guess what? These things not going to give you stability. These things is not going to give you salvation. Read that from the top again.
For all the gods of the nations are idols.
Read on.
But the Lord made the heaven.
Well, we got to always remember, guess what? Horus didn't make the earth. Nut didn't make the earth. Osiris didn't make the heavens and the earth. Guess what? The Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that's who made the heavens, brothers and sisters.
That's right.
That's the ones that we got to believe in, man. Give me Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13. And like we said, the title of the class is Plagues of Egypt. We're going to go in here and show how the Egyptian gods are nothing to the Most High. And we shouldn't have these things in our thought at all. Brothers, brothers, I know y'all chime in anytime, man. Y'all got something out, bring that thing out. In the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13 and verse 1. Get her read up.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, verse 1. Surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of God.
And a lot of times when we out there teaching our people, guess what? We are ignorant of the Most High God. Our people are ignorant to how to keep the Passover correct, or how to keep the Feast of Tabernacles correct, or how to keep the new moons and so forth. Read on now.
And could not out of the good things that are seen, known him that is.
Because we see everything that's around us, but guess what? We don't never think that it's a higher power that looks like us that created these things. A lot of times our people have what? Esau on the brain, or they have them Hamites on the brain. But guess what? We're above all those when we read the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6, man. And that's what we try to instill in brothers and sisters, man. Put that self-esteem back into them again, man. Read on up.
Neither by considering the works.
Read that again up.
Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster.
Because guess what? The Most High used Christ to create everything. But our people don't consider those things, man. We do not consider everything, the air that we breathe, the sun, the moon, the stars, the chairs that we sit on, everything, all these things come from the Most High God. Read on up.
But deem either fire or wind or the swift air or the circle of the stars.
Read that again.
But deem either fire or wind or the swift air or the circle of the stars or the violent water or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world.
See, our people take these things as for gods, just like our northern brothers and sisters. That's why the Most High God sent Esau against them, because guess what? They was out here worshiping those things, worshiping the sun. Why would you worship the sun when the Father created the sun?
Right.
We got to give all honor and glory to the Most High God. The stars, guess what? He gave us those things for directions. We are not supposed to worship those things.
Right.
You got some? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We're not supposed to worship those things. The wind, he gave it those things to, guess what? Cool us off. Especially in this captivity, boy. Esau got his boot on our neck, man.
Right.
Read on up.
Verse 3. With whose beauty, if they being delighted, took them to be God.
Because guess what? Those things are very beautiful to look at, especially when you look up at the stars at night, you look at the moon, but you should not take them to be gods. Those are just things that the Most High God allow us to use to, guess what? Celebrate his high holy days, to give us direction. The sun gives us the time. And that's all that they're made for. But when we go into worshiping these things, just like they do in Egyptology, just like our people was doing when we was in Egypt, guess what? That's going off. Read on up.
Let them know how much better the Lord of them is.
Read that again.
Let them know how much better the Lord of them is.
That's why we telling Hotep, my brother, guess what? Your God has nothing on our God. We letting them know through the scriptures how much better the Most High God is than the things that they worshiping out here. Read on up.
For the first author of beauty had created
The
them.
Most High God sets the standard for beauty. And like we be on our sisters because guess what? They are the most beautiful sisters on the planet Earth. And guess what? Most High God dictates that with their hair, having the best hair on the planet, the beautiful, the best dress, when we in our right mind state. That's the whole key. The Most High God dictates beauty, not Esau, because guess what? When we pull up the most beautiful, what picture comes up? We all know when we see what comes up. Read on up.
Verse 4. But if they were astonished by their power.
Read that again.
But if they were astonished at their power and virtue, let them understand by them how much mightier he is that made
The
them.
Most High God has might unlike any other people that we have, any other God that we have seen. On a whole nother level, brothers and sisters. Give me Second Ezra, chapter 7. Y'all hold your precept too. Give me Second Ezra chapter 8 and verse 20.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 8, verse 20. O Lord, thou that dwellest in everlasting.
In what?
In everlasting.
Read on up.
Which beholdeth from above things in the heaven and in the air.
See, the Most High God sits on top of everything, man. Read on up.
Whose throne is
Inestimable.
Whose glory may not be comprehended.
Read that again.
Whose glory may not be comprehended.
We cannot comprehend the Most High God's glory. That's why he told us, guess what? Keep the commandments and all these things will be added onto you. A lot of times, brothers and sisters want to go deeper than the Most High God allows us. Keep it basic, brothers. Keep it basic, sisters. Read on up.
Before whom the host of angels stand with trembling.
Read that again up.
Before whom the host of angels stand with trembling.
The archangels, guess what they up there doing? They up there standing with trembling before the Most High God, man. But guess what? Our people on earth, we do not fear the Most High God, because if we did, we'll keep his commandments. We'll keep Passover. Read on up.
Whose service is conversant.
Salah.
Whose service is conversant in wind and fire.
Read that again.
Whose service is conversant in wind and fire.
Meaning he commands the wind and the fire, man. We see how years ago the western seaboard was on fire, and then the eastern seaboard was, guess what? Snowed in. Read on up.
Whose word is true.
Whose word is what?
Whose word is true.
Read on up.
And saying constant. Whose commandment is strong and ordinance pure.
Read on up.
Whose look drieth up the depth.
Read on.
And indignation maketh the mountains to melt away. With the truth witnesses.
Which the truth, meaning what? The law, statutes, and commandments. Psalms 119, verse 142. Let's go back. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13. Yeah, read verse 5 again.
Wisdom of Solomon 13 and 5. For by the greatness and beauty of the creatures, proportionally, the maker of them is seen.
That's how we are known, because by everything that we see, the Most High God did all these things. Guess what? For our sakes. So these things can be at our beck and call when we in our right mind state. Go ahead,
Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 25, right quick, man. We hold y'all precept right quick. Because a lot of time when we get into worshiping different idols and different gods, we change to something, man. Read that up.
The book of Romans 1, verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie.
See, because the other nations, guess what? They taught us their ways. And a lot of time, our people, we get into those ways and we hearken to the ways and we start doing their customs and start doing what their gods, what they say their gods say they're supposed to be doing. You know.
Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator.
Like our going into, we want to worship the stars and the moons and cows and everything else, but we not worshiping the one that made the cow and the moon and the stars in the sky. You know, that's how our people had been doing for years. Through each captivity, we took on every custom that they had. That's why when you read neither Jew nor Greek, because guess what? He was talking to the Jews that was in Greece. Why they don't say neither Jew nor Japanese? But they use that to change that to say all people.
That's right. They play on our people ignorance of the scriptures.
That's right.
Read the rest of it up so we go back.
and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen.
Amen.
Let's go to Exodus chapter 5. We're going to do a little bit reading today, brothers and sisters. Go to Exodus chapter 5 and verse 1. Do a little bit of reading. Kind of go over this history. So yeah, a little bit. Exodus chapter 5, verse 1. Go ahead, Al.
The book of Exodus, chapter 5, verse 1. And afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus said the Lord God of Israel, let my people go.
That's exactly what we do when we have to prophesy on the streets, in a spiritual sense. We have to tell our people to, guess what? To wake up. Turn back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Turn back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Because guess what? That's how we get out of this captivity, brothers and sisters. That is the only way. Read on up.
That they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness.
What was that feast that we was holding unto the Most High God? The Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. These are the things that we was trying to hold to the Most High in the wilderness. Read on up.
And Pharaoh said, who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go?
Read that again.
And Pharaoh said, who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go?
Because guess what? The other nations don't acknowledge the Most High God at all. They're never in the Most High God's thoughts, man. At all. They don't think upon the Most High God at all, man. And a lot of times we always say God loves everybody. He created everybody, but that's not what the scriptures say. Read on up.
I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go.
Read that again.
I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go.
And they didn't want to let us go, just like America. Like I said, if we was really free, they would have shipped us back to our homeland or to wherever the hell that they got us. Because some of the people they got from West Africa, some of the people they got from Portugal.
Read that part over again.
And I know not the Lord.
That's the reason why he wouldn't let our people go, because he know not the Lord. The laws was never given to them. That's why they don't know our God, and he didn't know the power of what our God would bring. Even though he seen the sun come up every day and the moon, he see the stars in the sky, but guess what? He still didn't know who that God was. That's why Pharaoh said, I know not that God, man. Go ahead,
Read on,
Verse 3. And they said, the God of the Hebrews hath met with us. Let us go, we pray thee. 3 days' journey into the desert.
Read verse 3 again, man.
Verse 3. And they said, the God of the Hebrews hath met with us.
No, the God of everybody.
The God of the Hebrews hath met with us.
Now, we all know some of the precepts. Brother Zadok, give me a precept on that. We all know. Anything, man. Joel or something. Anything that come off the top of the head, because we want precepts to show brothers and sisters that, guess what? The Most High God, Amos 3 and 1. Let's get that right quick. Like we said, we want to put brothers in a mentality when we see precepts that have them things running through your scriptures, man. I mean, through your brain. That's how you meditate constantly on the scriptures.
The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel.
Read on up.
Against the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Read that again up.
You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Saying the same thing that, guess what? Basically, Exodus is just saying the God of the Hebrews. It didn't say the God of everybody. Read on up.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
That's why we went through slavery that no one else went through. That's why we get shot down by the police. That's why we stay in the ghettos. That's why we stay in the hoods.
Right.
Guess what? That's why we the only ones trying to keep Passover. That's why we the only ones trying to keep the Feast of Tabernacles the right way. That's why we have a 7-pointed manure and not a 9-pointed manure. That's why we call ourselves the Jews and not Jewish, meaning kind of, sort of, not the originals. Read on up. Is that it?
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Book of Exodus, chapter 5, verse 3. And they said, the God of the Hebrews hath met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Lord our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence, or with the sword,
or with the what?
or with the sword.
Because when we break God's commandments, guess what? It's destruction that comes behind it. It's a penalty that comes behind it. And we see it every Sabbath in, every Sabbath out, every day. When we out there going our jobs with our family members, after teaching the word on the streets, we see the Most High God killing our people. We know what that pestilence is. That pestilence is going into what? Coronavirus. Plagues. The sword is what? The modern day sword today is what? The gun. Jump down to verse 6 and 4. Chapter 6 and verse 4.
Book of Exodus, chapter 6, verse 4. And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan.
Read verse 4 again.
And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan.
The Most High God made the covenant with the Israelites. A lot of times Christianity, apologetics, they think that the covenant is for everybody. But scripture upon scripture shows you that, guess what? The covenant is only for the Israelites. Even when we go to the New Testament, go to the book of Galatians, what they love to run to. Galatians chapter 4 and verse 24.
Book of Galatians, chapter 4, verse 24. Which things are allegory. For these are the two covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth the bondage,
To bondage,
which gendereth to bondage, which is Agar.
Agar, because we know that Abraham had a child by Agar, and he had a child by Sarah. Read on up.
For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, an answer to Jerusalem, which now is and is in bondage with her children.
And answer it to Jerusalem, because guess what? All knees gonna bow when Christ come on the scene. They're gonna give glory to the Most High, to his son Yahushua, and they also gonna give glory to the Israelites. Read on up.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
Jump down to verse 28.
Verse 28. Now we brethren, as Isaac was, are the children of promise.
Because we are the children of promise. Read on up.
But as then, he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the spirit. Even so it is now.
Read on up.
Nevertheless, what said the scripture? Cast out the bondwoman and her son. For the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with the son of the free one.
Guess what? We not sharing nothing with the other nations, man. All they have to look for is captivity. Guess what? We are joint heirs with Christ, not joint heirs with the other nations. Let's go back. Give me Exodus chapter 7 and verse 1. Get into some of these plagues. Yeah, go ahead. That's
definition of plague. This is the definition of the word plague. Anything that afflicts or troubles, calamity, scourge, any contagious epidemic.
Read that again now.
Anything that afflicts or troubles.
Anything that afflicts or trouble. Ain't coronavirus troubling the other people. But guess what? We the Israelites, we gonna do what the Lord say do, man. We not worried about that thing, brothers and sisters. Y'all should be. And that's what we tell brothers and sisters, to build up your spirit. Fast. You have to pray, brothers and sisters, because guess what? You're going to need a strong spirit in these times. The Most High God is going to be doing things upon the earth that, guess what? You're going to have a strong spirit for it. You're going to be seeing people dying around you all the time, man. But guess what? We got to hold fast to this truth. You got to have your faith strong. It's no time for unnecessary bickering among sisters, amongst brothers. Guess what? We're trying to make it to the kingdom. I want to see all my brothers and sisters in the kingdom, man. Read on out.
Calamity, scourge, any contagious epidemic, disease that is deadly, annoyance.
Annoyance, because guess what? That thing is annoying the hell out of our people right now, man. Our people that's in the world, because guess what? We serving the Lord, man. We've been having a great Passover this week, man, and guess what? We're gonna continue to have a Passover this week, man.
That's right.
Give me Exodus chapter 7 and verse 1.
The book of Exodus chapter 7, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh.
He had made us a what?
A god to Pharaoh.
Read on now.
And Aaron, thy brother, shall be thy prophet.
Because whether our people like it or not, guess what? We are gods. We are the gods of this planet. But like we always say, it comes with stipulations. When we in our right mind frame. Give me Psalms chapter 82 and verse 5. Let's go to verse 5. Precept that all brothers know, especially brothers that be out there teaching on the streets.
The book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness.
We walk on in darkness. Us as a nation of people, guess what darkness is? Sin. Our people live in sin, man. They love sin. But they don't understand that, guess what? Sin is the wages of death. Read on up.
All of the foundations of the earth are out of court.
And everything is out of order because guess what? The Israelites, brothers and sisters, is not in their right mind frame. That's why, guess what? Plagues is killing the earth. That's why you got Moab eating all the type of abominable things. Rats and dogs and stuff. Moab, you would not be eating them cats and dogs in the kingdom, man. We ain't playing that stuff, man. Let's send 144,000 over there to clear out all that stuff because these is where these plagues is coming from. Read on up.
I have said, ye are gods.
So guess what? We are gods. But as you also see, it's a lowercase g. We ain't on Christ level. We damn sure not on the Most High's level, man. Guess what? God just means judge. We're out there to be righteous judges according to the Bible. Read on up.
And all of you are children of the Most High.
All the children of Israel are children of the Most High. Not everybody. Not every kindred and tongue. Captain, y'all got something? Y'all bring that thing out. Yo, let's go back to Exodus. Yeah. You know we gotta add 7.
Verse 7. For ye shall die like men.
Because a lot of times, even when we out there on the streets, they teaching Egyptology. Yeah, I'm a god, my brother. Well, yeah, brother, you are a god. But you're not a god dealing in Egyptology because guess what? That's what verse 7 applies to you. You're going to die like a man then. Now, if you're a god, get our people out of this situation. Right. Help to benefit your nation of people. Help us to be the rulers once again on the planet Earth. Read verse 7 again. Huh?
But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes.
Verse 8.
Arise, O God, judge the earth.
Do what?
Arise, O God, judge the earth. For thou shalt inherit all nations.
That is our blessings, brothers and sisters, if we stay on the straight path. Let's go back to Exodus. You got something?
And let me go ahead something on this. Dealing with the Passover, what we are doing, we are celebrating the destruction of our enemies.
That's right.
This is something we have not been taught in our captivity. I want to jump back to Exodus chapter 5 and give me verse 4. I want to expound a little bit on this. Sometimes I always try to teach to the point where we don't never leave a gray area. I'm going to show you something. Give me verse 4 in chapter 5 of Exodus.
The book of Exodus chapter 5 verse 4. And the king of Egypt.
And the king of who?
And the king of Egypt.
I want y'all to underline that. I'm going to come back to it. But finish out the precept.
And the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works, and you unto your burden. And
so this what's going on. The conversation going on with Pharaoh, Aaron, and Moses. I want y'all to pay attention to this. And the king of Egypt. As we bring this up to today's term, I want y'all to understand. What does Egypt mean? Bondage, right? Let's make sure we clarify that precept upon precept. Exodus 20 and 2. So if Egypt means bondage, it's saying, when you read that first part, it say, and the king of Egypt. So if Egypt means bondage, this is talking about the pretty much the king of your captivity, your oppressor. I'm gonna bring it up to today's term. Guess what? Who's the king of Egypt now? Because guess where we at now? In bondage, right? I'm gonna show you something. Give me Exodus 20 and 2. And I just want to bring an understanding because when we look at the captain, bring it out the class, the plague of Egypt, the curses that's put upon our oppressor is happening right now. We have to understand that thing. Read that Exodus 20 and 2 right quick.
Exodus 20 and 2. I am the Lord thy God, which has brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Just making sure I'm justified in what I'm saying. So when you look at the king of Egypt, that means pretty much our oppressor, the ruler of our captivity. It's nothing new up under the sun. As we rehearse this righteous act, we got to realize nothing new up under the sun. What happened before is going to happen now. We got to continue to rehearse the righteous act. So I just want to bring it out before we go into these plagues to understand what y'all seeing now with the coronavirus. Just a different plague, but the same scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Cap.
And what Cap bringing out is very much true, because when he said the king of Egypt, guess what? All captivities they based their captivity around Egypt.
Yeah.
Why you think when you pull out the dollar bill, they got the pyramid on the back of it? Everything is based on the first captivity, man, and everybody took a part of it. And guess what? If they see how they put us in captivity, that's why when you got verses like what Judah chapter 5 and verse 20 said, if we can keep them in sin, that God won't fight for them. But if they not in sin, he said you'll be a made approach in front of all the world.
Right. That's why you was taught Easter. That's why you was taught Thanksgiving. And Judah 5 and 20, that was a good one, huh?
And even give me Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. Because like we said, we always want to bring these things up to today. But just like Captain was going into, there's nothing new under the sun. The same game plan that they had back then is the same thing that's going on today. The exact same thing, man.
The book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
Of that great city, going into that great country. Our people are spiritually dead. This is not talking about physically, because guess what? We still here. Just like that old saying we say, the Israelites, we don't die, we multiply, man.
Right.
Read on up.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
It's spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Why Sodom? Because guess what? They take on homosexual tendencies, passing homosexual laws. And spiritually Egypt, because guess what? They had us in bondage. They have us in bondage, just like the Egyptians had us in bondage. So they have the same characteristics, just like Captain was bringing out with the obelisk, with the pyramids on the back of the dollar. They glorify Egypt, and all our people do along with them, man. They say King Tut used to beat the hell out of our people, man, but they worship this Hamite.
Right.
Because our people are ignorant of history. That's what I'm saying. It's very important to understand the Bible and also to understand world history. Let's go back. Exodus chapter 7.
The book of Exodus, chapter 7, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land.
That's one of the most important things too. When we out there on the streets, guess what? We speak the Most High God's words, man. 1 Peter 4 and 11.
That's right.
We are not to speak anything, because guess what? Our words have no weight. The Most High God words carry all the weight, man. Read on up.
Verse 3. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt.
Because guess what? We have a great God that is showing signs and wonders, but our people don't take heed to that thing, man.
Right.
Matthew chapter 24 verse 7 tells us that he was going to bring plagues, earthquakes in diverse places, man. Guess what he's doing right now? And a lot of times our people don't even put it into context, because guess what? You had H1N1, you had the bird flu, you had Ebola. Guess what? This thing is getting more and more rapided up.
Right.
Now this plague got people locked in for months at a time, man. Let's let you know we're at the end times, man. Read on up.
Verse 4. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt.
See, the Most High God hardens these nations' hearts so he can destroy them, man. Same way he gonna do Donald Trump, the same way he gonna do Putin. Read on up.
And bring forth mine army.
Read that again up.
And bring forth mine army.
That's what we always try to put brothers in the mind state, brothers, especially when we out there on that street, man. We got an army out there, man. Most High God, we can't play the games with brothers. We got to have brothers in the right spirit out there. That means it got to be order out there. When you have an army, guess what? Everything is in order. That's what the other nations fear when we out there. They don't fear nothing. They fear order. Read on up.
And my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt, by great judgment.
Guess what? He gonna bring us out of this Egypt with great judges, man. We're gonna get to that a little later. I'm jumping ahead, man. Got me crunk. I'm ready to go out to the streets now, man. Read on up.
And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt, and bring out the children of Israel from among them. Jump up to verse 9. Like we said, we're gonna do a little bit of reading, but we're gonna skim through some stuff. Verse 9. When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent.
Now we all know that damn Charleston Heston movie, that white supremacy movie, when they were showing the plagues and so forth. Because guess what? The Most High God was showing his power at that time on the planet Earth. Just even like today, our people love to see a sign. Show me something new. You know, let me see something. But guess what? In this time, it's gonna be by faith, brothers and sisters. This walk is by faith, man. We ain't gonna be able to see a lot of those glorious signs and wonders that the Most High God was doing. We're seeing some of it with the plagues, but not to this level of degree that was in the Old Testament. Read verse 9 again.
Verse 9. When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent.
Read on out.
And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent.
Read on out.
Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers.
And the what?
And the sorcerers.
Because guess what? They had sorcerers, they had magicians. It was always witchcraft on the planet Earth. Guess what? America uses witchcraft on us too. Right. When we telling Sister Betty, Price, you know Price is black. Oh, I don't care what color he is. Sister, stop it, man.
Why you got a white one on your wall?
For real. Sister, stop it, sister. That is witchcraft. When we tell our brothers and sisters, sister, I can show you in the Bible that he looked like you. No, I don't want to see it. But then they go up in those Sunday worship churches. That is witchcraft on a whole nother level, brothers and sisters. Read verse 11 again.
Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner.
Guess what? They put enchantment. They threw they staffs down, man. Oh, we can do what y'all can do, man. Your God ain't nothing. But let's see what our God did. Read verse 12.
With their enchantments, verse 12. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rod.
But the Most High rod swallowed up all their rods, man. They're serpents. Give me Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 9. Because America uses this same witchcraft. When you go into the book of Isaiah, it's saying, "O virgin daughter of Babylon." Who is the daughter of Babylon? Anybody got a precept? What you got, Boaz? Who is the daughter of Babylon? Ash, what you got? No. Well, a little bit. Not the one I'm looking for. Brother Ezra, what you got, Who is the daughter of Babylon? Give me Psalm chapter 137, verse 7. Brother Nation, I just gave the answer about the ask Nation.
Book of Psalms, chapter 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
The children of who?
The children of Edom.
Read on now.
In the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it.
Meaning destroy it. The Most High God said, remember the children of Edom. Who is the children of Edom? Esau, the Caucasians today. Read on up.
Raise it, even to the foundations thereof. O daughter of Babylon.
Who, oh what?
O daughter of Babylon.
Read on up.
Who ought to be destroyed.
This was King David giving a prophecy about the coming destruction on Esau. They are the daughter of Babylon. Let's go back to Isaiah 47. So when you read Isaiah 47 verse 1 on down, this is going into Esau. Y'all let me know if we're going too fast. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 9.
The book of Isaiah chapter 47, verse 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. The loss of children and widowhood.
And what?
And widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection. For the multitude of the sorcery.
Of thy sorceries.
For the multitude of thy sorcery. And for the great abundance of thine intent.
Because like we say, religion is sorcery, man. Because they use our people to give them a false notion that God loves everybody. Then guess what? It doesn't matter what color Christ is. As long as I have this red one up, just believe that, brother and sister. That is total sorcery, man, on a whole nother level. Because we can show our people, but they still do not want to believe it, and they damn sure don't want to read it, man. Read on out.
Verse 10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness.
And that's what America does. It trusts in wickedness. Read on out.
Thou hast said, none see it.
And they thinking nobody sees them, but guess what? The Israelites see that thing. And guess what? The Most High sees that thing. And guess what? He's using the Bible to uncover the things, the wickedness that they do. Read on out.
Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it has perverted thee.
Read that again.
Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it has perverted
because the knowledge that they think that they have, they think it's above the Most High God's knowledge. Read on out.
And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me.
We all know what that I am meaning. Going back to what? Thinking that they the Most High. Right. Because what did the Most High say to Moses? I am that I am, or Christ. So they think that they are the Most High God. So they use this witchcraft, sorcery on the Israelites to keep us what? Asleep. Because the longer we stay asleep, the longer they have the time to rule. Jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. Stand now with thine enchantment and with the multitude of thy sorcery, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth.
Because they have been wicked from their youth, man. Read on out.
If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels.
Because what do you think all these secret councils is going into? What you think the EU is all about? The United Nations. These are the councils that they put forth to bring destruction upon the Israelites, thinking of ways to, guess what, keep our people in sin. Read on up.
Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly
procrastinators, prognosticators
stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee.
What is this going into today? They're scientists. They're people that they use to pay millions of dollars to, guess what, dictate or interpret the scriptures. Well, you know what they really doing? They on there looking at our YouTube page, getting breakdowns of scriptures, man. Right. That's all that they doing because they most of the time God not giving them the understanding of the scriptures.
Right.
Let's go back to Exodus.
Wait, let me get a precept.
Go ahead,
man. Let's go to Sirach chapter 12, verse 13, right quick, man. See, because a lot of times they always had enchanters, sorcerers, all kind of little different things. And you know, a lot of times man, when you don't know anything about, if you've ever been in the military or if you follow anything about the government, they main thing, what they do is friendly fire. They get killed with friendly fire more than any dang old thing. Read verse 12, 13 up.
Chapter 12, verse 13 of Sirach. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent?
Now, okay, if you got a person that's a snake charmer, if he get bitten by that snake, you ain't gonna too much pity that man, because you shouldn't have messed with that snake in the first place. You know what I mean? Well, guess what? They modern day scientists, look at them. When they start blowing up labs and stuff goes, why would you pity them? You ain't gonna pity them like, man, that fool right should have been messing with that stuff. No way, man. You know,
or any such as come nigh wild beasts. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins. Who will pity?
Who gonna pity him? When somebody, you see him full of sin, and you see JoJo over there robbing everybody on the corner, and then he come back and they say JoJo dead. They like, well, JoJo, man, well, we already knew his outcome coming to be, because he should have left them people alone, man. Read on.
Verse 15. For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry.
Read verse 16 is what I want.
An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips.
Now this is what August finna get. This is what the August finna get into. That's our enemy. Main thing that they do, even America do it right now. They speak so sweetly with their lips, man. Read.
But in his heart, he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit.
Now that's what the enemy trying to do. They just like, yeah, man, just good brothers, man. I'm finna kill all of them in their mind. That's what they plan. They plan on doing this. You know, and by the grace of the Most High, man, he allow us to have Passover all week long, man. This is a beautiful thing, man. Look at, we'll talk about it afterwards, but hey, all praise to the Most High. Read on.
He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
He won't be satisfied with blood. And this is what I'm just gonna touch into, because Egypt, they will not be satisfied with blood, man. They didn't want to give us up, man. But they talk sweetly But guess what? The Most High had to show his power, man, to get us up out of that thing, man.
Right.
Let's go back to Exodus. And even like Og was bringing out great points, man. Even when we bring it up to today, what is that pit? That pit is sin.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? All the other nations to keep what? Liquor stores in our community. Guess what? Drug houses. You don't think Esau knows about these things, man? Who's pumping the drugs? Like I said, we don't own no major ships, no airplanes. These are the things that they get us to fall into.
Mm-hmm.
Read, jump down to verse 17 now.
Exodus chapter 7, verse 17. Thus said the Lord, and this thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood.
They shall be turned into what?
They shall be turned to blood.
Read on up.
And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink of the water of the river.
Now, this first plague, that's what the Most High did. He smoked the waters. Do anybody know the Egyptian god of the water? Anybody? This first Egyptian god is going into Zobek. I know y'all done seen it, the man with the alligator face. This is going into their gods. This is one of the first gods that the Most High God was destroying, because he was showing them that their gods are idols. Their gods are nothing. I'm going to do this to your God. Let me see what your God going to do back to me. Showing you that, guess what? If it don't come to pass, that guess what? That's a false God. So this first one is Zobek. You got that up? Yeah, go ahead, up.
Sobek was an ancient Egyptian deity with a complex and fluid nature. He is associated with the Nile crocodile or the West African crocodile, and is represented either in the form or as a human with a crocodile head. Zobek was also associated with pharaonic power, fertility, military prowess, but served additionally as a protective deity with appropriate qualities, invoked particularly for protection against the dangers presented by the Nile.
And guess what the Most High did? He brought dangers to the Nile. And guess what? That God couldn't do anything to turn it back. So he was showing that Zobek is nothing, man. Just like we read in the book of Psalms, chapter 96. Read verse 19.
Verse 19. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, take thy rod and stretch out thine hand upon the waters of Egypt, upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone.
Now that last part is real heavy, because you have to picture it in your mind. They had already been got certain water up out of the Nile, so it was set separately from the river Nile. But guess what? The Most High God turned that into blood too. Now, how could that be turned into blood when you ain't even dipped nothing out weeks or days ago? Showing you the power of the Most High God. No, I'm getting all that. Because you know, them Hamites, but they be stingy with that water, man. They gonna store some stuff up. But the Most High God got all that. The ones that was in pail and the ones that was in stone that was stored up. Read on up.
Verse 20. And Moses and Aaron did so as the Lord commanded. And he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants. And all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood.
Were turned to what?
Were turned to blood.
Jump down to verse 22.
Verse 22. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Neither did he hearken unto them, as the Lord had said.
Because as the Most High God was bringing these plagues, guess what Pharaoh was doing? Trying to get his magicians to turn back the plagues. But they couldn't, man. They could not do that thing. Read on up.
Verse 23. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house. Neither did he set his heart to this also.
So guess what? The Most High God was steady hardening Pharaoh's heart. You know, this is pissing them off, because guess what? Egypt was the top nation on the planet. They was the superpower during this time. So had no nation ever come up against them like how God came up against them. Jump down to chapter 8. So that first plague was going into Zobek, the god of the Nile. Like it says, he was made to bring fertility. You know, water brings life. But when you don't have no water, guess what? It's a lot of death and destruction going around. Read on up.
Chapter 8, Exodus. And the Lord spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus said the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all the borders with frogs.
Now, I don't know if brothers and sisters have been out to the tabernacles when we go out there in Florida, but I know most brothers and sisters in there have, man. Them frogs be everywhere, man. Just imagine you couldn't step nowhere. Because you got sisters, all in the, get it out. You got some brothers out there like, get that frog out, man. Brother had to walk with brother to the shower, man. Brother, come on, brother. Come on, man. But just imagine those things everywhere, man. You can't step or do anything, man. You got some out for it?
Nah, I thought you said in Florida.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, in Fort Worth. I ain't been to Florida either, man. In Fort Worth, where we go for the Feast of Tabernacles. So it'd be all type of frogs out there in the shower and everywhere. So just imagine you couldn't go or step anywhere without a frog being there. Read on up.
Verse 3, and the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, and into thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, and into the house of thy servant.
Read that again, man.
And upon the bed, and into the house of thy servant.
You can imagine having a frog in your bed, boy. Read on up.
And upon thy people, and into thine ovens, and into thy kneading troughs.
And they was everywhere. You couldn't go or do anything without seeing a frog somewhere. Now, do any brother know who is the god of the frogs? What Egyptian god is this? Do anybody know? He quit. You got that up, Captain Nehemiah? Go ahead. Hequet. For brothers and sisters out there.
Hequet is an Egyptian goddess of fertility, identified with Hathor, represented in the form of a frog to the Egyptians. The frog was an ancient symbol of fertility, related to the annual flooding of the Nile. Hequet was originally the female counterpart to Khnum, or the wife of Khnum, by whom she became the mother of her. It has been proposed that her name is, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
The Greek goddess of witchcraft.
Now the thing is, because a lot of times when you look up, when brothers and sisters look up these plagues, a lot of these plagues are a lot of these Egyptian gods or goddesses. That's why we know a lot of times sisters love to gravitate to Egyptology, because a lot of times brothers is buttering them up. Oh, sister, you a goddess, just to do what? Get a piece of nuke. You know, so they trying to butter our sisters up, and a lot of times our sisters fall for these things, man. But guess what? It's how time will come up out of it, man, because the Egyptian gods has nothing on our God. They just trying to butter sisters up. That's it. You got some out? No. Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt.
So a lot of the Egyptians, guess what? They was bringing up frogs, but the thing was, they couldn't take them away. That was the whole point. That's where the Most High God was showing his power on the planet, in the face of the Egyptians. Read on up.
Verse 8. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron, and said, entreat the Lord, that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto the Lord.
He's just lying through his teeth, man. Read on up.
And Moses.
Go ahead, up. You got something?
Yeah, I was going to let you know. Give me Revelation 16 and 13. Because these frogs, these plagues, this plague is already happening today. They just will look at it in a spiritual way instead of this physical way that just happened third. Yeah, start 13.
Revelation chapter 16, verse 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs. Shall I come out the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
That's a lot of these lies that's going on right now that y'all getting taught a lot of time. These are the plagues right now that's going on. These frogs that's happening. Go ahead.
For they are the spirits of devil.
They the spirits of devil. That's why the Bible also asks us, try every spirit. Because when you're looking at the spirit, you'll see if it's a plague or if it's the truth of the Most High God. So we must try every spirit. Go ahead.
Working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth.
And that's what they do with it a lot of times. They think it like we look at it as they perform a miracle. Like all of a sudden they're gonna come out with a vaccine for this
Corona.
Yeah, that thing. And when they coming out with that vaccine, everybody gonna look at them as miracle makers, just like they do everything else. We look at scientists, our scientists, everybody believe in our scientists. Go ahead.
And of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of the God Almighty.
And it's all a trickery. Everything they do, this is a world thing now. It's a world disease now. So let's get together, let's come together. And when they think they done conquer that now, but they actually gather to battle against our God. That's all I got on that.
All praise for that. And those three unclean spirits goes into politics, economics, and what? Christianity. Those are the main three things that plague our people, man, because a lot of times our people think just because they get into politics that they can change something. But a lot of times those politics do what? Soup them in, man. And they become wicked than they was if they hadn't have been up in that thing. We know what Christianity do to our people. You know, we know a lot of times what economics, meaning money, do to our people. Look at TD Snakes, buying them another jet, or what is that, Creflo Hollow? You know, 2 jets. That's madness, man. When you got people out here that needs these things. You said what?
Creflo got your dog.
Yeah, Creflo got your dog. Let's go back. So this second plague was going into going into the frog goddess. Give me. Let's jump up. Give me Exodus chapter 8 and verse. Start at verse 14.
Verse 14. And they gathered them together upon heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respect, he hardened his heart, and hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said.
Read that again,
But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart, and hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod and smite the dust of the land.
And it says, when it says respite, that's going into a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. So the thing was, he was anxious to get him over with. So the Most High God gave him a little bit of relief. But what did he tell Moses? If you take this away, guess what? I'll let your people go. But guess what? He lied, man. Like it always say, what is that? Sirach 12? Never trust thine enemies, man. For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness, man. We have to always keep that in mind, because a lot of times we see some Edomites and we say, oh, that's a good one. But what did the Bible say? That's what we say. We cannot lean on our own understanding. Never trust none of our enemies, man. Now we understand that we got to work with them. So you, hey, Becky, just keep it moving. You know, but you ain't got to be all up in her face, lovey-dovey, or Bob, hey, Bob, you want coffee? No, just go to work, go home, man. That's it. Let's go to Exodus chapter 8 and verse, so read verse 15 again,
Verse 15, Exodus chapter 8. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart, and hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
That it may become what?
Lice. All throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so. For Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth.
Now, chapter 8 goes into 2 plagues in once. You got the 3rd and the 4th plague, which is going into Kepri, which is going into Lord of the Flies, basically, man. See, a lot of times Esau, they're making these movies, but these movies have meanings behind these titles, man. And a lot of times our people don't pick up on it. Read that for me, Captain Nehemiah.
Kepri.
How you spell it?
Khepri.
Kepri.
It's a scarab-faced god in ancient Egyptian religion, who represents the rising or morning sun. By extension, he can also represent creation and the renewal of life.
So this is going into, like we say, the goddess or god of flies and bugs. So the Most High God, we know how pesteous bugs are, especially flies. Even when we read down to verse 20, read verse 20 right quick.
Verse 20. And the Lord said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forth to the water, and say unto him, thus said the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee.
And I know we was talking about this last year. Like you say, just imagine, we can imagine one fly being on your nerves, man. You're trying to swat them down as much as you can, but just imagine billions upon billions of flies, man. Boy, that's some irritation for you right there, boy. Read on up.
Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms and flies, and also the ground whereon they are.
So these things was going on to the Hamites of the Egyptians. Read on, but let's see how it didn't happen to us. Read that up.
And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, and in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there.
But guess what? The children of Israel, we was in the land of Goshen, a fertile land, and guess what? None of these plagues touched the Israelites. Like, guess what? Like a lot of these things, all praise to the Most High, we keep that thing going. Like a lot of this plague today, this coronavirus. You know, we've been keeping the Lord's commandments because I know it's the thought, like how we was bringing out with the brothers and sisters last week of Romans chapter 13. Well, we got to follow the laws of the land. Well, that's true, but guess what? It's a part that a lot of times brothers and sisters admit. The Most High is not a terror to good works. So as long as we, guess what is the good works? The law, statutes, and commandments. Romans 7 and 12. You know, as long as we keeping the commandments, having faith, the Most High God is not a terror to good works. Now, those brothers and sisters that's out there doing whatever the hell they want to do, that's why a lot of times they catching that thing. And I know people seeing the CNN report how, shoot, Israelites is catching hell now, man. At first we would, but the Most High God does what? He uses that to get our brothers and sisters to repent, man, to wake up. Wonder why is all these things come upon us more than it comes upon the other nations, man? Why are we catching hell? Search the scriptures, man.
Psalm 91. Psalm 91. Because guess what? When we keep the law, statutes, and commandments, man, look, it ain't gonna come near you. But when you don't keep it, guess what happens? You fall victim to it. Everybody, man, look, it's been saying the same thing from Genesis to Revelation. Keep the commandments, man. But if you don't keep the commandments, something's gonna happen to you.
That's right. Give me that in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 60. And it's just that simple, brothers and sisters. A lot of times brothers want to be deep, sisters want to be deep. But guess what? Keeping the commandments is basics. Read that out.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 6. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt.
Read that again now.
Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt.
He's bringing upon us the diseases of Egypt, the plagues. Read on out.
Which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee.
These plagues are cleaving unto our people now, man. Coronavirus is cleaving unto Israel. Read on out.
Also, every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed.
Last time I checked, you don't read about coronavirus in the scriptures. So like it says, all the plagues that is not written in the book of this law.
Right.
HIV, guess what? It's not in here. Go ahead, Doc.
And the thing about it, like what he did Egypt, he attacked Egypt with the gods that they worship. And that's exactly what he's doing right here in America.
That's right.
We worship a lot of scientists. We depend on scientists. That if the scientists don't say it, we don't believe it in America. And that's a lot of things what he's doing. He attacking them. They go to plan and experiment with these diseases. Guess what? He gonna use that disease. Okay, now I'm gonna use it to kill y'all since y'all messing with it. And he attacking just what he did in Egypt. Everything that they worshiped and believed in, he used that to come against them. And he's doing that same thing today.
That's exactly right. Let's go back to X. You got something?
Yeah, because if you like we were talking about the other day, I know I was sitting there talking to some of the sisters about it the other day, how if this disease was coming near us, if we were so bogged down on coronavirus, they wouldn't stop the world for us. But they've been killing us for centuries, for years. It's coming down on them. That's why they stopped everything, man. This thing, they put it out there, and he put their own invention back on their head, man. And but guess what? That's the Most High showing his power now. But don't think our people can't catch that wrath. Because like when you think about it, there's a lot of people saying you dying of coronavirus. You actually really not dying of the virus. It kills your immune system and you die of something else.
The things that our people are plagued with, guess what? Heart disease, guess what? Diabetes, high blood pressure. These are the things pre-existing conditions that our people are plagued with.
And that's funny when you say that, because a lot of times, like now, all of a sudden, there's these reports coming out about the Israelites getting it all the time. Now the restrictions are kind of laid back. You notice that? You go outside now, everybody running outside. Oh, that's on the Israelites now. It ain't as long as it's killing us, it's all right. But when it was touching them, shut it down. Let's shut the world down.
Let's go. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Let's go back to Exodus chapter 8 and verse 22 again.
Exodus 8:22. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, and in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end that thou mayest know. To the end that thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth.
He's in the midst of the earth. And guess what? Like I said, the third plague going into lice. We know who's catching that. Esau, boy, he be prone for lice, boy.
That's funny how we was in school. Like the Edomites, they'll get lice. We couldn't get it. That's so crazy.
And a lot of times, like I say, it's because of the texture of our hair. Lice latches on to straight hair. It doesn't latch on to curly, woolly hair.
Greasy,
woolly hair. And that's why, like we said, with our sisters, man, y'all got the best, beautiful hair on the planet, man. And knowing that wise, man, be trying to straighten that thing out, man. Like I say, because lice, flies, we know how irritating flies are, man. Let's go read verse 23.
Verse 23. And I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be.
And tomorrow, like I said, the Most High was giving signs to show us that, guess what? He was only for the children of Israel. That main one we want. And I will put division between my people and thy people. Give me Deuteronomy what? 32 and verse 8. No, brothers know these basic precepts, man. Because it's always the thought since the Most High God made everybody that, guess what? He's for everybody. But when you actually get the understanding of the scriptures, you'll see that these things is not so, man. Read that, Officer Yara.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
So when it talks about that, he gave all the nations their portions of land. He gave Moab their land. He gave Ammon their land. Ham their land, Japheth their land. Read on out.
When he separated the sons of Adam.
No, he joined them together.
When he separated the sons of Adam.
He separated the sons of Adam, meaning it was an alpha Adam and the rest were regular Adams. Read on out.
He set the bound of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
He gave all the people, all the other nations their lands, but guess what? He gave Israel the best portion. Read on out.
For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
We are the lot of the Most High God's inheritance. Where we at is that's where the Most High God dwells. Let's go back. So we know that this third and fourth plague is going into Kepri. Like I say, Lord of the flies, Lord of lice. Jump down to Exodus chapter 9 in verse 1.
The book of Exodus chapter 9 verse 1. Then the Lord said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh and tell him, thus said the Lord God of the Hebrew.
Of the who?
Of the Hebrew.
Read on out.
Let my people go, that they may serve me. For if thou refuse to let them go, and would hold them still, behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous murrain.
And like I said, this fifth God, does anybody know what this God is going into? This fifth God, the cow God, is going into Hathor, which is like I say, the goddess of God of cattle, so to speak. And we know that what is cattle used for transportation, and is mainly used for what? Food. So the Most High God was going to basically starve them out, man, for our sakes. And a lot of times when we're going through these plagues, the Most High God is bringing judgment on the other nations for Israel's sake, man, to show his love for us. Read that for me, Captain Nehemiah.
Hathor was a major goddess in ancient Egyptian religion who played a wide variety of roles. As a sky deity, she was the mother of or consort of the sky god Horus and the sun god Ra, both of whom were connected with kingship, and thus she was the symbolic mother of their earthly representations, the pharaohs. She was one of several goddesses to act as the eye of Ra, Ra's feminine counterpart, and in this form she had a vengeful aspect that protected him from his enemies. Her benefit side represented music, dance, joy, love, sexuality, maternal care, and she acted as a consort of several male deities and the mother of her sons.
So like we said, and it go into the representation of the cow, the woman with the cow's head. Like we said, we know that this is basically going into another idol that they used and thought that it was bringing them food, but we know who feeds the planet. We know that the Most High God does all these things, man. It is not about the power and might of the Egyptians. Jump,
spell that for me.
It's HATHOR. And that's the fifth plague, the cow idol. Jump up to, keep reading out, verse 4.
Verse 4. And the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that is in the children of Israel.
Read verse 4 again.
And the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that is in the children of Israel.
Like we said, we always want to bring it up to today. You know, they have been limiting brothers and sisters on how much they can buy, but guess what? We've been having a feast this whole weekend, man. All praise to the Most High God. It's been things that we needed. Guess what? They've been in the grocery stores, man. They've been there. We hadn't had no problem getting these things. We got the lamb, got 2 lambs. You know, was able to get all the meat, all the vegetables that we need. The Most High God is steady providing for us. Guess what? While we in this turmoil situation, because what? We are keeping His commandments.
Right.
I know a lot of times we don't think upon these things, but everything it's been good. Like we said, that's why we give all praise to the Most High. Guess what? We're gonna keep the commandments, man.
Right.
Because that's where our power lies, brothers and sisters. That's why we emphasize on that day in and day out. Read on up.
Verse 5. And the Lord appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow the Lord shall do this thing in the land. And the Lord did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one.
So He killed off all they food supply, but guess what? We was living good, man, in the land of Goshen. Read verse 7 up.
Verse 7. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of Israel of the Israelites dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go.
Now we know another time in the time of Genesis. When else did this happen? Do anybody know? Got a little background history. What happened with our forefather when he was dealing with his wicked uncle Laban? Y'all know that history, Brother King? You don't know that?
I don't recall it.
When like I said, when Jacob with his uncle Laban, the Syrian, and he was dealing with him to try to get his daughters to wife. But guess what? The Most High God kept blessing him, but kept cursing. Well, he was getting blessed through Jacob, but the Most High God was giving Jacob more than what his uncle had. It's doing these same times right now, doing the same thing. In the book of Genesis chapter, when you read the book of Genesis chapter 29 and verse 30 on down, when he had his sheep of flocks, like we said, the spiring.
Spotted in Solomon.
Like I said, when brothers get a chance, make sure y'all read over this history. Please read over this thing. Like we tell brothers and sisters, try to read as many chapters as you can, at least 2 or 3 a day. Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus chapter 9 and jump down to verse 8.
Exodus chapter 9, verse 8. And the Lord said unto Moses and unto Aaron, take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust in all the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beasts throughout all the land of Egypt.
So this sixth one is going into Katesh, which is it was going into boils, but Katesh is going into supposed to be the goddess of medicine or the goddess of healing and so forth. But the Most High God was bringing these boils not just on the people, but guess what? Also on their animals as well. You know, he was killing off a lot of them. So y'all got to understand that even during this little bit of time, it was still many Egyptians dying, man. Even before he actually got to the 10th plague. Read, give me that definition of Katesh. Let me spell it for brothers and sisters. Qetesh.
Katesh says here is a goddess who was adapted during the late Bronze Age from the religion of Canaan into the ancient Egyptian religion during its new kingdom. She was a fertility goddess of sacred ecstasy and sexual pleasure, and became a popular deity.
That it on it?
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Popular deity.
So they say, jump down to Exodus chapter 9 and verse 11.
Verse 11. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boil. For the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had spoken unto Moses.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus said the Lord God of the Hebrews, let my people go.
So we know that the Most High God was bringing this sixth plague, which was boil. Like we're saying, you know how irritating boils can be. You know, make you very uncomfortable, man. Jump down to verse 21.
Verse 21. And he that regarded not the word of the Lord left his servants and his cattle in the field.
Read that again.
And he that regarded not the word of the Lord left his servants and his cattle in the field.
Think about it, guess what? It ain't touched me, so I don't care. Read on up.
And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch forth thine hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field, throughout the land of Egypt.
So this seventh God is going into Nut, or going into the sky God. Because like we say, if the Most High God is bringing hell, then tell your sky God to stop, you know, to save you out of this situation. Read that for me, Captain Nehemiah.
Nut, also pronounced as mud. Hail rained down in the form of fire. Again, warning is given before the enactment of the plagues take place. Pharaoh is warned. Let me move over here. Mut was a mother goddess worshipped in ancient Egypt. Her name literally means mother in the ancient Egyptian tongue. Mut had many different aspects and attributes that changed and evolved a lot over the thousands of years of ancient Egyptian culture. Mut was considered a primal deity associated with the primordial water of Nu, from which everything in the world was born. Mut was sometimes said to have given birth to the world through parthenogenesis, but more often she was said to have a husband, the solar creator god Amun-Ra. Although Mut was believed by her followers to be the mother of everything in the world, she was particularly associated as the mother of the lunar child god Khonsu.
That's it on that?
Yeah, and I want to add something.
Go ahead.
Do y'all notice what it's saying? It say over the years, they changed to be this, or they changed to be that. One moment they somebody mama, next moment they somebody wife. How can you rely on something like this when they constantly changing? It's just like the Christian religion or the Catholic Church. Over years, and we was talking about this with some sisters, over the years they add and change different stuff. And if you 150 years away from when they started it, what they had then and what you got now is two different things, but you don't know because you wasn't there when it first started. So you just like Christianity, we just pick up Christianity, start doing what we was taught, but not realizing the things that they changed from the original out of the Bible over the process of time. And that's what they doing with this garbage right here. That's why it's a 1 minute they was this, 1 minute this is the attributes. We got different papers and different articles on these gods, and it say different stuff about them. So they not even sure what they false gods.
Right. Give me verse 24. Hold your peace out over there. Give me verse 24.
Exodus chapter 9, verse 24. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like in all the land of Egypt, since it became a nation.
Read on out.
And the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail smote every herb of the field, and break every tree of the field.
So not only was it killing, like we say, man, it was killing their animals, and it was also killing the herbs, their vegetables and their crops. Read on out.
Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, was there no hail.
But like we say, the children of Israel, we was good. Read on out.
And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron, and said unto them, I have sinned this time.
He did what?
I have sinned this time.
Because guess what? The other nations know what wrong is. The Most High God's laws have been throughout the earth, man. So he even identified and guess what sin was doing this time. So they knew. Read that again out.
And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron, and said unto them, I have sinned this time.
Yeah, I really messed up this time, man. You know that other word that we can't use. Read on up.
But the way what he was telling them, because that's what our God was doing. He was showing his sign, but he was hitting his pockets. He was taxing them, man. He done messed. He done got the cattle. He done got the herbs. Now look, man, you digging into his pockets now.
And guess what? That also causes uproars in the nation. You see how our people be. That's why we tell people it's so very important to have order, because you see people fighting over toilet tissue, trying to get it up. Well, not sharing with your brother. You get one and I get one. You ain't got number one but the white man. I mean, come on, man. You got to share with one another, man, especially during these times. And that's why we be on, brothers and sisters. Hey, whatever we have, trying to store up what we have in the building to give what brothers or sisters need according to what they need. Read that again.
Verse 27. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron, and said unto them, I have sinned this time. The Lord is righteous.
The Lord is what?
The Lord is righteous.
Read on out.
And I and my people are wicked.
So he acknowledged that thing, man. Them Hamites wicked, man. He acknowledged it for himself because he understood that he was doing unjust things toward the children of Israel. And guess what? The Most High was steady jacking them up, man. Jump up to give me chapter 10. Yeah, chapter 10 and verse 1.
It's funny how you said this time.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see them other times. I did that. That was good.
For real, but you didn't do none of them other 6 times. Man. Read that out. You got some Captain 9?
Oh, no, good. Go ahead.
Read on out.
Exodus chapter 10, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go in unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I might show these my signs before him.
And like we said, we know what the signs was, him bringing curses and plagues upon them. Read on out.
And that thou mayest tell in the ears of thy son and of thy son's son what things I have wrought in Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that they may know that I am the Lord.
And guess what? That's exactly what we doing today. Letting our children know, letting our daughters know that guess what? This is what the Most High God did for us to bring us out of Egypt. And guess what? He gonna do a more glorious thing out of this spiritual Egypt. Give me Judges chapter 6, verse 13. Because even during this time, during the time of the judges, it was going out being wicked as hell. You know, there's always a few righteous brothers and sisters, though. This is during the time of Gideon. And Gideon understood this by reading Exodus. Read verse 13 out.
Judges 6 and 13. And Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us?
But during the time of the judges, the Most High God was jacking them up because of what? It's always because of sin. Them going off worshiping other gods is nothing new under the sun. It was going off back then, and guess what? We going off now. We getting judged because of sin then, and we getting judged because of sin now. Read on out.
And where be all his miracles, which our fathers told us
Because
of?
they understood about the Most High God showing his power on the earth, showing miracles, signs, and wonders. They know about these things. The splitting of the Red Sea, like we always tell brothers, they have that on YouTube. It's in the Gulf of Abaca and what you call the border of Saudi Arabia. All you have to do is pull these things up, brothers and sisters. It's literally nothing grows down there. The ocean is very clear. That sea is very clear. So when you go through there, you just see overturned chariots. They done found femur bones. They done found horse bones down there. But the coral reef has covered it to disguise. Now we know Esau love to do digs. Why they ain't dug up that? You know, like we always say, if they find that out to be true, then God's chosen people is true. So they have to cover that at all costs. All costs, man. Read on up.
Which our fathers told us, saying, did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt?
Didn't he send all them plagues to Egypt? Didn't he bring us up with a mighty hand? Read on up.
But now the Lord hath forsaken us and delivered us into the hand of the Midianites.
The Midianites is going into the Saudi Arabians or the Arabs today. Let's go back. But our people have always had this history to remind them of. Like we say, the scriptures is what? For our comfort. When we read the book of Romans chapter 15, verse 4. Let's go back. Judges chapter 10 and verse 3. What you got? Go ahead.
Exodus.
Oh, Exodus. It's a lot.
The book of Exodus chapter 10, verse 3. And Moses and Aaron came in unto Pharaoh and said unto him, thus said the Lord God of the Hebrews, how long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me?
Because that's what the Most High God is always looking for, especially from amongst our people, to have that humble and meek spirit, not to think of yourself more than what you really are. Read on up.
How long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me.
Read on up.
Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow will I bring the locusts into thy coast.
So this is going into, like I say, the locusts. Jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. And Moses and Aaron were brought again unto Pharaoh, and he said unto them, go, serve the Lord your God.
Do what?
Go, serve the Lord your God. But who are they that shall go?
Read on up.
And Moses said, we will go with our young and with our old, and with our sons and with our daughters, with our flocks and with our herds will we go. For we must hold a feast unto the Lord.
And we all know what that feast is, what? The Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Read on up.
And he said unto them, let the Lord be so with you, as I will let you go, and your little ones. Look to it, for evil is before you.
Read that again up.
And he said unto them, let the Lord be so with you, as I will let you go, and your little ones. Look to it, for evil is before you.
So you know he's pissed off right now and shooting shots. For evil is before you, meaning, guess what? Watch your back, basically.
Yeah, that's what he tell him. Hey, I might not get you, but I'm gonna get your children later on. It's gonna happen later on.
That's exactly what it's going into. Read, jump down to.
Let me get a precept.
Go ahead.
This Nehemiah favorite scripture, Psalm 55 and 20, man. That's what they do, man.
The book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 20. He has put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
Because guess what? When no players are coming down on him, man, he want to be at peace with Israel. Did, man. Read on.
He has broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
Because that's why you tell him, hey, yeah, y'all gonna go. But y'all better watch y'all back, man. I'm gonna get you, nigga, because I don't like that. He like the dude on belly with the banana standing at the corner. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
They say you have to drop it down on the food. Give me Exodus chapter 10 and verse. Okay, go ahead.
But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
That's what he told. He drawn a sword, but because he gave him a little hint that y'all gonna go. Watch your back.
Watch your back. Let's go back to Exodus chapter 10, verse 11. We're gonna cover this 8th plague, which is going into, like we say, it's going into the locusts, but the goddess was going into Osiris, which is the goddess or god of vegetation. But we know that, guess what? The locust eats up vegetation. Read on up.
Exodus 10 and 11. Not so. Go now, ye that are men, and serve the Lord, for that ye did desire. And they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail hath left.
Read that again up.
Stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail had left.
So guess what? Even what the hail did destroy, the Most High God sent the locusts to eat the remainder of, man. So the Most High God, like I said, he wasn't playing with them. And this is the goddess of Osiris. So like I said, if your god Osiris is a real god, tell him to bless the land again. Read that definition of Osiris.
Osiris is the god of fertility, agriculture, the afterlife, the dead, resurrection, life, and vegetation in ancient Egyptian religion. He was classically depicted as a green-skinned deity with a pharaoh's beard, partially mummy-wrapped at the legs, wearing a distinctive APTTMH crown and holding a symbolic crook and flail. He was one of the first to be associated with the mummy wrap. When his brother Set cut him up in pieces after killing him, Isis, his wife, found all the pieces and wrapped his body up. Osiris was at times considered the eldest brother of the god Ea and the sky goddess Nut, as well as being brother and husband of Isis, with Horus being considered his posthumously begotten brother. He was also associated with the epithet Kentai Amentu, meaning foremost of the Westerners, in reference to his kinship in the land of the dead.
That's it on that?
Yeah.
Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, because even like how we was read 28 verse 60, it says, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Now we're going to read Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 42. Because guess what? The locust is still on here today. Like I say, spiritually and physically. Read that out.
Deuteronomy 28:42. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume.
Read that again out.
All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume.
Because just like with the northern tribe, we know the so-called Native Americans and the so-called Mexicans, like we said, this was their land. But guess what? Esau came over here and ate up all their vegetation, stole their main crop, which was the corn, and then guess what? Destroyed our people. That was that locust doing it during the times of the curses when they was applied upon us, and they still destroying our people as this day. Like we say, we get paid, but we barely keeping our nose just above water because the locust is eating it up, taking your money. You're getting the money and giving it right back to them. Got to pay bills, got to pay water, got to buy the things that we need when this whole planet Earth was given to us. But since we broke the commandments, the Most High God sent the locusts after us. Let's go back to Exodus. We're going to jump down. Now, give me Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 3.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 3. For while they supposed to lie, hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness. being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions.
Going into, and y'all, I want y'all to hold y'all precept. I'll jump the gun. Go back to Exodus chapter 10 and verse, I'll jump down to verse 20.
The book of Exodus chapter 10, verse 20. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt.
Now this night god is going into what? Ra, the sun god. So the Most High God made it dark all over the planet Earth, or were upon the land of Egypt. Salaki, read that definition of Ra.
It's a lot. Ra. Ra is the ancient Egyptian deity of the sun. By the 5th dynasty in the 25th and 24th centuries BCE, he had become one of the most important gods in ancient Egyptian religion. Identified primarily with the noon sun, Ra was believed to rule in all parts of the created world, the sky, the earth, and the underworld. He was the god of the sun, order, kings, and sky. Ra was portrayed as a falcon and shared characteristics with the sky god Horus. At times, the two deities were emerged as Ra Horakati. Ra, who is Horus of the two horizons. In the New Kingdom, when the god Amen rose to prominence, he was fused with Ra into Amen-Ra.
Let's go back to Exodus chapter 10 and verse 21.
Book of Exodus chapter 10, verse 21. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt.
Read on up.
And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days.
Read that again.
And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in the land, in all the land of Egypt 3 days.
Man, brothers couldn't imagine being in the dark 3 days. We know some of us growing up, but boy, now, boy, you be calling the mess out of that electric company, man, trying to get that thing back on. But this is going into 3 days, and Wisdom of Solomon kind of elaborate on those things. Now let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17 and verse 3.
Hey, let me just add on that with Ra, just dealing with Egyptology, man. It says this about Ra, the sun, the most worshipped god in Egypt other than Pharaoh. So you got to think about it. The Egyptians, they worship the sun. So he said Pharaoh himself gave no light. The Lord showed that he had control over the sun as a witness that the God of Israel had ultimate power over life and death. So when he blanked out the sun for 3 days, they were shook because they truly worship the sun god. So just giving more expansion on that to show you when the Most High God done that, they were shook.
It was, man.
And to add a little more on that, like our people like to think they Egyptians, right? Because the white man, the so-called white man is fascinated with Egypt because he the one took on their ways. From the time of Alexander, when his general took over, they took on the Egyptian ways and passed it all throughout Europe and Rome and brought it over here. And that shows you how foolish our people are. Anything that Esau set out there, they want to jump on. We going through all these gods, which prove through the scriptures don't exist, because the one true living God proved they don't exist. And our people would rather turn from our book, which has got the proof in it, and turn to this crap right here. When we breaking it down, and even Wikipedia showing you that it's garbage. Man, our people need to wake up out of that thing thinking they Egyptians, man.
Yeah, they do.
We are not no dang Egyptians, man.
All right. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon. Start at verse 1, 17 and verse 1.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 1. For great are thy judgments and cannot be expressed. Therefore, unnurtured souls have erred.
And that's what we continue to tell brothers and sisters. Stay nurtured in the truth, man. Stay on that straight path. Like I say, it's nothing deep. Just stay diligent to the truth. Because once you are not diligent, man, that's where you start to err. Read on up.
Verse 2. For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation.
Read that again.
For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation.
Even when we're going back to Exodus, what did Pharaoh say? That me and my people are wicked. They are unrighteous. And they was what? Oppressing the holy nation. Read on up.
They being shut up in their houses. The prisoners of darkness.
The prisoners of what?
The prisoners of darkness.
Going into what? That 3 days in darkness. Read on up.
And fettered with the bonds of a long night.
Fettered with bonds is going into in chains, but they was in chains because of the darkness. Read on up.
Of a long night, laid there exiled from the external province. For a while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins. They were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions.
That strange apparatus is going into sounds that you hear in the night and you don't know where they're coming from. You could just imagine that being in total darkness and you hear a bird growling and you don't know where to run to. Read on up.
For neither might the corner that held them kept them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them.
So guess what? They heard water falling down and that was spooking them. Read on up.
And sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenance.
Read on up.
No power of the fire might give them light.
So even when you lit a torch, guess what? You still couldn't see in front of you. Read on up.
Neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to light the horrible night.
So guess what? Even the stars, we know how bright that they are, but guess what? The Most High God had them dim during that time. Read on up.
Only there appeared unto them a fire kindled of itself, very dreadful.
Very what?
Very dreadful.
Read on up.
For being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight they saw not.
So guess what? You could just put yourself in this mind frame, not being able to see 1 foot in front of you, 2 foot in front of you, but you're hearing all different type of noises, animals, growlings going about. Man, that afflicts your spirit, boy. Read on up.
As for the illusions of art and magic, they were put down.
They were what?
They were put down.
Now this is going into what King Solomon was expounding on, is going into the magicians of Egypt. Read on up.
And their vaunting in wisdom was reproved with disgrace.
So guess what? The things, their enchantments, their wizardry, it had nothing upon the Most High. Read on up.
For they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves of fear.
So guess what? They was put in there to save the people, but guess what? They themselves were scared. So it was nothing that they could do. Read on up.
Worthy to be laughed at.
Read that again up.
Worthy to be laughed
So
at.
you know the Israelites, man, we sitting in Goshen laughing. Read on up.
For though no terrible thing did fear them, yet being scared with beasts that passed by, and hissing of serpents.
You can imagine the hissing of a serpent by, and you don't know where it's at. Read on up.
They died for fear.
They did what?
They died for fear.
And a lot of people, they just dropped dead on the spot. Like how we was hearing with Nat Turner, you know, when he was raising hell throughout the South. A lot of them old white men, a lot of the old white women, they dropped dead on the spot, man, for fear. Because they knew the things that they had did to our people. And that some part of payback was coming. Just like during this time. Read on up.
For though no terrible thing did fear them, yet, verse 10, they died for fear, denying that they saw the air, which could of no side be avoided.
Read on up.
For wickedness, condemned by her own witness, is very timorous, and being pressed with conscience, always forecasted grievous things.
Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. So then, whosoever there fell down was straightly kept shut up in a prison without iron bars.
And that's what it was an allegory to. They was in a prison without bars, man. They couldn't go nowhere because you know when you're in prison, you can only go but so many feet.
That's America.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Going into America today, man. Like we say, you better not try to go across that thing without a passport. Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus chapter 11 and verse 1.
The book of Exodus chapter 11, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, yet will I bring one plague more upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. Afterward, he will let you go hence. When he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out hence altogether.
So he was gonna bring this last and final plague upon the Egyptians. We all know what this is. Read on up.
Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, and every woman of his, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people.
So in verse 2, when you read, it says, speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and of gold. The Most High is giving them warning to, guess what? Grab your things, get ready to go, because guess what? This last plague is going to be very deadly, and they're going to be pissed off and ready to seek retribution at y'all. So y'all get ready to go. So give me Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18. We'll start at verse 10.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, verse 10. But on the other side, there sounded an ill-according cry of the enemies, and a lamentable noise was carried abroad for children that were bewailed.
For what?
And a lamentable noise was carried abroad for children that were bewailed.
So we know this is going into this last plague. Well, guess what? The Most High God did what? Killed every firstborn of everybody and of every animal. So guess what? It was not nobody in the land of Egypt of a family that did not die this night, man. So this, you can just imagine, just in our neck of the woods, somebody in Oak Cliff, you know somebody that has some child or so forth, or was the firstborn child. So if the mama didn't have children, guess what? She died, and so forth. If they was the first children, they died. Read that out.
Verse 11, the master and the servant were punished after one manner.
Because guess what? Everybody was born. So guess what? If he didn't have a brother, he been the firstborn, so he died. Read on out.
And like as the king, so suffered the common person.
So even kings had brothers and sisters. Read on out.
So they all together had innumerable dead with one kind of death.
Read on out.
Neither were the living sufficient to bury them.
So guess what? There was so many people killed during that time when the Most High God brought that plague, that guess what? They didn't even have enough people to bury them. Read on out.
For in one moment, the noblest offspring of them was destroyed.
And we know what that noblest offspring is going into what? Pharaoh's son. He got killed. Read on out.
For whereas they would not believe anything by reason of the enchantment.
Read that again.
For whereas they would not believe anything by reason of enchantment.
Because they trusted in their magicians. They trusted in their enchantments. Read on out.
Upon the destruction of the firstborn.
Read on out.
They acknowledged this people to be the sons of God.
And that's another precept for Luke chapter 3, verse 38. Because guess what? The Israelites is what? The sons of God. Everybody is not a child of God, man. So only when the Most High God brought that final destruction will they acknowledge that thing. In the same way they're going to have to acknowledge during this time when he bring his mighty hand, when he bring Christ down.
It's also a precept of Genesis 62.
Yeah.
Where they we want to go to.
Yeah. Read verse 14 now.
Verse 14. For while all things were in quiet silence, and that night was in the midst of her swift course.
So we know that the Most High God was put a lot of people died that night. Give me let's go back to Exodus chapter 12 and verse 29.
The book of Exodus chapter 12 verse 29. Verse 29, and it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon.
People in the prison, people that was free. Read on out.
And all the firstborn of captives.
Read on out.
And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great city cry in Egypt, for there was not a house wherein there was no one dead.
Read the last part again.
And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
It was not a house that somebody didn't die in the land of Egypt. So guess what? Everybody was out there. Boo-hoo. Give me read on verse 31.
verse 31. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up and get you forth among my people.
So guess what? Now he's ready to let people go. When the Most High God had to touch one of his loved ones. Read on now.
Both ye and the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as ye have said.
And that's what we tell brothers. We cannot tempt the Lord our God, because a lot of times, brothers, you take the judge. Brothers feel like they can take judgment from the Most High God, but the Most High God won't just touch you. He'll touch something close to you. He'll touch your church. So a lot of times, brothers and sisters got to shake that selfish spirit, man. We got to, man, because he'll touch something that you dearly love, man. Read on up.
Also take your flocks and your herds, as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
And read that again, verse 32.
Also take your flocks and your herds, as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
Guess what, man? Before y'all leave, bless me, man, because guess what? Y'all been bringing turmoil upon us, all these plagues, man. Read on up.
And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste.
In a hurry. Read on up.
For they said, we be all dead men.
So the Most High God had to touch some stuff for them to understand that, guess what? He is not playing with these nations. And guess what? He's doing the same thing today. He ain't playing with them. And that's what we tell brothers and sisters. We can't play in this truth. Either you're going to go full speed with it, or guess what? You're not going to go at all, man. You got somebody? Go ahead.
Yeah, and he's using this same stubborn leader like Pharaoh was at this time. Guess who we got now?
Yeah.
That same stubborn leader right to this day. Can't never do nothing wrong. He would deny everything until it happened. Oh no, then he'll say this and then turn right back around and go against what he said. The same thing occurring over and over. Go ahead.
We get a precept, Proverbs 29 and 12. Y'all should, some of y'all should know this precept. Proverbs 29 and 12.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 12. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked.
Now, if a ruler hearkens to lies, guess what? That's why when Pharaoh, when the Lord was smiting them, and Pharaoh like, man, bless me, he was going to bless everybody in Egypt, man. He wanted the plague to get away from all Egypt, man, because he was tired of it, man. Because they hearkened to them same lies the Pharaoh did, just like in America. They hearken to the same, man. Look at, you can't get them Edomites to say Trump did something wrong, man. You can't get them to say that man did nothing wrong, man. Look, he was the first president to do this and the first president to do that. That man did some of the craziest stuff you ever seen in your life, man.
That's right. Give me Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 5. We coming to an end, brothers and sisters. Because like we say, how he brought us up out of there, there's going to be even more glorious salvation, man. And we know it's going to be even more, because guess what? We're not going to even be talking about the salvation from Egypt no more. We're going to be talking about the salvation from the land of the north. Read this out.
Jeremiah 23 and 5. Behold, the days come, said the Lord.
Meaning a future prophecy. Read on out.
That I will raise unto David a righteous branch.
Read that again out.
Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch.
Now, a lot of times the thought used to be that this was actually talking about King David. But a lot of, we got many precepts that show you that, guess what? This is talking about Christ coming out of the loins of David. Give me Luke chapter 1, verse 32 right quick. You know, we got to touch on multiple subjects at once, man. Beat down some of these, some of the things that's just very easable to prove, to debunk with precepts.
The book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 32.
Start at verse 31 out.
Verse 31. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and he shall shall call his name Yahweh. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David.
Read that last part again.
He shall be great, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord shall give unto him the throne of his father David.
So if David is supposed to be the ruler, who David giving the kingdom to then, man? It's Christ. It's not King David. Read on out.
And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever.
Read that again out.
And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever.
Read on out.
And of his kingdom there shall be no end.
No, him and King David gonna share kingdom.
And of his kingdom there shall be no end.
And it's telling you, and of his kingdom, Yahweh's kingdom, there shall be no end. So the king that is talking about is Yahushua. Like I say, it's plenty of precepts to debunk that thought, man. You got some, Captain Nehemiah? Go ahead. Yeah, some Captain Nose there. Let's go back to Jeremiah. You looking for something?
Plenty of precepts.
Yeah, it is. Acts 13:23. What you got?
Man, go to Revelation 22 and 16. You ain't get one of those.
There we go.
It's plenty. We can get them precepts all day. All day long. Isaiah 11 and 1. Read it up.
Revelation 22 and 16. I, Yahweh, shall have sent my angels to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David.
He is the root and offspring of David, man. Read on.
And the bright and morning star.
So that branch that's coming out of David, that root or the offspring that's coming out of David is Christ. He's telling you verbatimly, I am that root.
That's exactly right. Let's get some more. Give me Acts. You know, Ian. Give me Acts chapter 13, verse. We'll start at verse 21. 22.
Acts 13 and 22. And when he had removed him, he raised up unto them David to be their king, whom also he gave testimony and said, I have found David, the son of Jesse, a man after mine own heart.
David was a man after the Most High's own heart. Read on up.
Which shall fulfill all my will. Of this man's seed had God, according to his promise, raised unto Israel a savior.
But the thing is, he did his part during that time, but Christ is to take over from there and forever. That's the whole point. Let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 5.
Jeremiah 23 and 5. Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth.
Going into Christ. Read on out.
Even his days.
Read that again.
In his days, Judah shall be served, shall be saved.
Read that again. Yeah.
In his days, Judah shall be saved.
Going into the southern tribe, read on.
And Israel shall dwell safe.
And going into the northern tribe. When you read in the scriptures, Israel is referred to as the northern tribe sometimes. You have to be careful and understand the context. Sometimes he's talking about Israel as all 12 too, though. But when you see Judah and Israel, that's letting you know it's going into the northern and southern tribe. Read on up.
And this is his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord over righteousness.
The Lord our righteousness.
The Lord our righteousness.
Read on up. You gotta take your glasses off there.
Yes, I do. Take them off. The Lord our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
So ain't we still talking about how he brought us up out of Egypt? We're doing a class over here right now. So it says the days coming, meaning what? This is a future prophecy, a future judgment. Read on up.
But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country.
Read that again from the top, verse 8.
But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country.
What north country is it talking about? North America. Read on. Guess what? They couldn't. A lot of times brothers want to get slick. Well, why I just didn't say North America? Brother, the Most High God can't give all the secrets. Esau would have burned the books. They already took a lot of our books out of there. We had to get back from the Apocrypha. So come on, man. The Most High God is not just blatantly giving this understanding to everybody. That's why he said, what? Study to show thyself approved, man. Brothers got to get in here, study, go over these precepts daily, man. Then that understanding will come to brothers, man. Read on up.
Well, it wouldn't be a mystery book.
Exactly. Or it wouldn't be a mystery. That's exactly right. Read on up.
And from all countries, whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land.
So guess what? We're not dwelling in our own land. So guess what? Those fake Jews that's not over there, y'all not the real Jews. Stop playing, man. And the scriptures bear witness with that. Like we said, we're not calling ourselves Jewish. And the Bible said that the Most High God was going to set us in our own land.
And then it says it's going to get us from the north country and from all countries, whether I have driven them. So when people talk about their fleet doctrine, it kills that too.
That's right.
We don't go ahead up.
Give me this last precept. Give me Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Because I know a lot of times, brothers and sisters, we want to be known for being Israel, but guess what? We not. This thing just not gonna happen, man. They ain't gonna understand that until just like something dramatic happened, like when the Most High God killed the firstborn of Israel. When he said that, guess what? We know that they are the sons of God. It's gonna be that same thing. Like Captain Now says, nothing new under the sun. These things repeat and repeat themselves. Read that out.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness.
Read that again out.
Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labor.
It says then, meaning future past, shall we stand in great boldness out there before the face of such as afflicted them, meaning what? The other nations. They gonna see in that day that guess what? These people, them people we was called niggas and spicks and all that, man, these people is God's chosen people for real. Man, them brothers went out there playing in the Power Rangers suit. Man, them brothers is really the Most High God's people, man. Read on up.
When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear.
Read that again.
When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear.
When Christ come up out of that sky, boy, woo, Lord, boy, come on, man, raise it. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, because they gonna understand the people that we had enslaved for 400 years, man. The people that got whipped, Kunta got his foot chopped off, man, hopping trying to get away, man. Man, them was God's chosen people, man. That ain't funny. Read on up.
When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation.
Because they ain't gonna be able to believe that. They're gonna be amazed, because a lot of people really do think that those people over there are the Jews, man. So when God come and get a people that look totally different, they ain't got them look curly Shirley Temple damn things on the side of the head. Right. They looking like, and they're gonna see wool like the Most High, woolly beard, man. Say they're gonna be troubled with the strangeness of our salvation, man. Read on up.
So far beyond all that they looked for.
It's gonna be so far beyond they done look for, man. Like I just cannot believe it, man. Read on up.
And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit.
Read that again up.
And they repenting and groaning.
Please, Lord, I didn't mean to call them niggas. I didn't mean to call them the N-word. I didn't mean to say that they weren't God's chosen people. It says they gonna be repenting and groaning. Because some of them Edomites, they ain't gonna want to go. Even after the Most High show us, it's telling us they groaning, man. I still don't believe them niggas is God's chosen people. And he gonna be right there in their face and what God? Read on up.
For anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision.
These are God's chosen people who sometimes we had in derision, in confusion, letting them know they not who they was. Like we said, going by African American, going by black, going by Afro American, which is a damn hairstyle. How can our nationality be a hairstyle, man? Read on up.
And a proverb of reproach.
And a proverb, meaning guess what? Them sisters, they're whores, they this, they that, they out of order. But guess what? When we back in our right order, they gonna understand that. Guess what? Y'all gonna have to take them words back, man. Right. Them ain't just deadbeat daddies. We not baby daddies, man. We not fatherless nation. Read on out.
Verse 4. We fools account his life madness.
And they count the things that we do out there on the street as madness. Man, why y'all have to read the Bible, man? Like that, ain't this a God-fearing country? Y'all should want to see us out there reading the Bible. Especially for our nation. This is the only thing that puts our nation back in check. Read that again. Huh?
We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor.
They think that we gonna die just being blacks and Hispanics. But guess what? The Most High God is gonna give us honor in that day. Read on up.
How is he numbered among the children of God?
Read that again.
How is he numbered among the children of God?
Because just like we told brothers last Sabbath, it's nothing wrong for reaching the 144,000, but to already put yourself in 144,000, that's out of order, man. But guess what? I always extend to that, man. Be the best that you can be in this thing. Give 1,000%, brothers and sisters. Read on up.
And his lot is among the saints.
And how are you? And that's something we want to leave brothers and sisters with, man. How do you want to be numbered? Like we say, sisters with the Mary spirit. She was highly favored with the Most High God. The Most High God loved Moses, man. He loved this spirit, a meek and humble brother. How do you want to be numbered? The disciples even asked Christ, what number am I? Am I going to be the best? Am I going to be number 1, number 2? There's nothing wrong with reaching that goal, brothers and sisters. That's what we put to brothers and sisters. I always try to reach that goal, man. You got some up? I always try to reach for that goal, brothers and sisters. Read verse 5 again. Huh?
Verse 5. How is he numbered among the children of God? And his lot is among the saints.
That's what we want to end with, brothers and sisters. Give me like we said, we always tell brothers and sisters to keep the laws, man. Like we say, and we always like to bring out laws. We're gonna go to my one, man. The one in keep the Passover. I mean Deuteronomy 16. 16. Yeah, 16. I would say we always tell brothers and sisters to keep the commandments, so we love to bring out laws. So each time we do a class, we always bring out a law at the end of the class. So brothers and sisters, get familiar with the ones that we can do. 16, Deuteronomy 16 and 16.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 16. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread.
So we know when you read the book of Luke chapter 22, verse 1, the Passover and unleavened bread is going into on the same day. So it's going into the Passover. So we must be here and must celebrate the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Read on.
The Feast of Unleavened Bread, and in the Feast of Weeks.
The Feast of Weeks is going into what? The Pentecost. We must keep that holiday. Read on.
And in the Feast of Tabernacles.
Those 3 we must keep, brothers and sisters. So they try to do your best to get things in order. Like we say, get your high. Now a lot of us got vacation days off there, boy. But, try to line these things up, your vacation days to God's high holy days, so you'll be able to celebrate these things. Read on now.
And they shall not appear before the Lord empty.
So we want brothers and sisters to focus in on that last part. Don't appear before the Lord empty, brothers and sisters. Because guess what? Y'all know I love to drink some wine, man. Y'all know how I do, man. Y'all know how I do, man. But like we said, we want to make sure that everybody, we have enough, and that guess what? All brothers and sisters is having a good time. Make sure y'all congregate with each other. Talk to one another, man. Brothers and sisters never know what y'all have in common, man. And with that, brothers, captains, officers, y'all got anything y'all want to add? Y'all good? Captain Nehemiah, you got something up? And with that, you good up?
I'm good.
Got something? Good up? And with that, we say shalom, brothers and sisters. Happy Passover.